Liza this, I was going to stumble on this. Liza Francisco with us, who's a physical therapist. And she has some kind of interesting twist on physical therapy that she's going to share with us this morning. So welcome, Liza.
Thank you. So I'm a physical therapist assistant, and I've noticed that the weather's getting warmer.
Yes, it is.
And
for a while, anyway.
I know. And then the daylight is staying longer. So a lot of times when that happens, you know, people start wanting to go outside. You know, and a lot of people like to stay healthy. So, which is great, especially in this type of community.
Right.
I like seeing people when they're out and walking around, seeing them in the fitness center, but not a lot of people like going to the fitness center. You know,
right.
I'm one of them who I'd rather exercise at home. And, you know, you don't necessarily have to use weights. Some people define staying healthy as staying active, being able to go from their apartment to the dining room and being able to get their mail or just taking a nice stroll. So, you know, when they hear exercise or staying healthy, you know, a lot of times we don't necessarily have to say, go to the fitness center, use some weights, use the new steps,
fitness
things
center
like that.
might like it, you see that.
Well, yes, but everyone has their own niche of staying healthy. Right. You know, if you don't like to do weights, you know, it's going to be very hard to be consistent. And that's the important thing with an exercise program and staying fit is being consistent, because you're starting to train your body to, you know, get into that certain amount of activity level.
That's one of the beauties of having a dog. You have to get out and walk.
Right. And there's your fitness right there. You know, taking the dog, some dogs, you have to take out 3 times a day to walk them.
Exactly.
You know, my dog, it takes 4. Or they get cranky. But, you know, if that's the case, walking the dog is good. Increasing your distance with walking, whether you're using a walker, a cane, you know, assisted device, or nothing at all.
An extra 10 feet every day or so.
Yeah. I mean, you want to feel, when you're doing a fitness regimen, you want to feel a little winded, not to the point where you can't walk back to your apartment, or you're really sore the next day and you can't move. Those are indications that you've overdone it. And with any fitness center, you know, especially if you have cardiac issues, if you have respiratory issues, or you just always want to talk to your doctor and just clear it, because there are, you know, you don't want to overdo it and then you're like, you get depressed, you know, so, and that's not what we want to see. We want everyone to be healthy. We want everyone to have a good quality life, you know, and maybe just having that extra walk is fulfilling enough.
Right.
So stay healthy, you know, be consistent, and enjoy the exercise program, whatever it is.
And if you don't enjoy exercising, then find some excuse to walk.
Yeah, and there's multiple activities here. You have the chair fit, you have, you know, trance fit, you have yoga, you know, so, you know, find a niche and just try to stick with it.
And of course, walking is the one exercise that exercises practically every muscle in the body.
Exactly.
So, you know, if you're, say, occasionally I tell myself, okay, I'm going to walk to get the mail. I live in Conner Terrace. My mail's up here in Village Square. If I walk around through Hunter's Crossing to get to my mail, then I've had a pretty good walk.
Yeah. I mean, you want to feel a little challenged.
Right.
You know, you don't want to be short of breath. That's not the point. And a lot of times like when people are walking, speed, can be a huge factor. Trying to find, when you're starting off with a walking program, you want to find a pace that works for you. That's not too fast, not too slow, because staying in between, you're not working as hard, okay? You're kind of keeping a nice steady pace, and then eventually, as you start building your endurance, your activity tolerance, speed will come, okay? But there's a lot of misconception as, well, I used to walk faster. Okay, you used to walk faster, okay? But if you've had medical issues that have slowed you down, you can't expect to get back to that as quickly as you can. And we're so hard on ourselves. We're very impatient.
Yes, we want to be like we were 20 years ago.
Exactly, exactly. So starting off with realistic goals first, and then building up, to activity level that works for you, that, oh, okay, I'm not as fatigued or I'm not as overworked, if I do it gradually. And that's the thing. People have to see that. You can tell them all you want, but you have to be motivated, and you have to see it, or it's like, oh, I am able to do it. Okay.
And sometimes that kind of just dawns on you.
Oh, exactly.
As you work to it.
And sometimes it takes a little bit longer for one person than it does the other. But the more you stay consistent, you'll start seeing results.
Okay, you talk about consistency. What about if you're trying to work up to a faster speed of doing, say, 30 steps at a faster speed and then slowing back down?
Right. When you're starting off at a certain speed and you're trying to build it up, you also have to realize you're not going to be able to maintain that speed for a certain amount of time, okay? But kind of build up to it, maybe walking from one door to 4 doors down and seeing how that feels. And then, because I like markers. I like those visual markers. It's like, oh, last time I walked this distance at this speed, and now, without realizing it, I'm walking further. So, and that's a great motivator to a lot of people. I see that when I'm working with clients, with residents, and their face lights up. I'm like, yep, that works for them. So everyone's different. Everyone has their certain goals, but just knowing, it's going to take some time, and just being patient.
What kind of exercises, say, to build up to this kind of thing, what kind of exercises do you recommend at home?
Well, at home, unless you have like a pedal bike, that helps with cardiovascular, okay, because you're maintaining a certain speed at a certain amount of time. The fitness center has new steps there that works the same way. You can also help incorporate strengthening because they have certain resistance. So starting out slow, building up, 10 minutes.
But say 15. I'm in my apartment and I don't want to go to the...
And you don't want to go to the fitness center. Doing the exercises and taking less rest breaks, because you're maintaining a certain activity before you have to rest.
What kind of exercise would you recommend?
Standing exercises, if your balance is good. A lot of people, when we give standing exercises, we have them either, if they've demonstrated safety, at their walker when it's locked, or at a sink. Something that's sturdy, so they can really focus on the quality of how they do their exercises versus the speed. And a lot of times at the sink, it helps encourage more of your posture compared to either a rollator, because when people use a walker or a rollator, they tend to want to support themselves on it. So you can't really focus on a lot of upright posture because it's so natural for them when they're at their walker. So standing at the sink. And if you have 5 exercises, and in the beginning when you did the exercises, you had a rest after each exercise. So building it up, next time, see if you can do 2 consecutive exercises before you have to sit down, or 3 consecutive exercises, to the point where you minimize how much rest breaks you need.
So see how long you can keep going without having to stop.
And still demonstrating quality, because we tend to want to go fast. So slow down, you know. Make sure your posture is good, because your posture is important. So a lot of times that, you're focused on that, and you know, the speed is a lot slower. So that's what I would recommend.
Right. That sounds very much like lots of recommendations in life of consistency and moderation in all things.
and knowing, you know, and knowing when to progress and knowing when to back off a little bit, because your body will tell you.
Yes.
You know, it'll tell you, yeah, that was good enough. That intensity that's good for me. So let's keep it that way for a bit. And then when you start, and you'll start noticing, oh, I don't feel winded. That wasn't bad. So when you start hearing yourself say that, well, okay, so bump it up a little bit more and see if it challenges you. And if it does, then continue with that until it doesn't become a challenge.
Okay. You've heard what Lisa says.